What about Rangers, by the way?
Oh, my God.
Poor old Rangers. They're 3-0 down after 20 minutes. They were leaving the ground.
Give yourself a mountain to climb. Help yourselves out, for God's sakes.
Club Bruges, though. I mean, Rangers fans will probably want to phone up, and we'll take Rangers fans. I want to hear from you, because Russell Martin's had a bit of a sticky start to the season, right?
Well, when you're Rangers manager, anything other than a win is a disaster, right? Now, there are 2 draws in the league, right? Yeah, that's bordering on disaster. But tonight, if they're going to get in the Champions League, and look, we heard, spoke yesterday, didn't we, about this is a tough game for them. And as it turned out, they're probably out, dropping the Europa League. It might be better for them, won't it? Get yourself into a competition, you might be able to win. Not winning the Champions League, are they?
Financially, though, it's all about Champions League.
It's about money.
Do you know what I mean? Come on.
Money. No, I agree with that. Yeah,
but it looks like they're going out. Club Bruges are a good side, to be fair. They're no mugs, so it looks like they're going to be going through. Rangers out. Rangers fans, give us a call, 03 717 22 3344. But we've got to talk about Alexander Isak. He's come out with an explosive statement on social media regarding his future at St James's Park. Joining us now to go through it, talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, Alex Crook. All right, Crookie.
Evening, boys.
Right, matey.
Crookie, I see this. I mean, it come out an hour ago. He put it out, obviously, with the PFA Team of the Year situation, and he's done this statement. Oh, mate, he's gone all in here, hasn't he? Yeah.
Well, as you say, he's gone nuclear. I mean, this is a real bombshell statement from Alexander Isak. One, I'm told, has caught Newcastle by surprise, that the hierarchy there and the management team didn't know this statement was coming. It is in relation to the fact Alexander Isak was the only member of the PFA Team of the Year who didn't attend the awards in Manchester tonight. He starts the statement by explaining that he didn't feel it would be appropriate under the current circumstances. But really, the last 3 paragraphs are the telling ones as far as his future is concerned. Isak says he's kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. That silence, in Isak's words, has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. The reality is that promises were made, and the club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if these issues are only emerging is misleading. Isak finishes this statement by saying, when promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship can't continue. That's where things are for me right now, and why change is in the best interest of everyone, not just myself. So strong words from Alexander Isak. And when he talks about broken promises and the trust being broken, I don't think he's necessarily alluding to any agreement he had that he could leave Newcastle this summer. I think this goes back to a year ago when he was under the impression from Amanda Staveley, when she was at the football club, that he would be offered a big money new contract, one that would reflect his status, I think, is probably one of the 3 best players in the Premier League, along with Erling Haaland and Mo Salah. Amanda Staveley left the football club. Paul Mitchell came in as sporting director, and Isak's camp claim that contract never materialised, and that's the broken promises he talks about. And I do think it's fanciful for people to assume that Alexander Isak has only been looking for a move away from Newcastle this summer. As I say, I think it goes back at least a year. He obviously wants to join Liverpool. There was talk of Saudi Arabia. He never entertained that. But from a Newcastle perspective, checking in with sources there tonight, this hasn't damage their resolve to keep him. They do not want to sell Alexander Isak. They've looked for potential replacements. That's why they went all in for Benjamin Šeško before he went to Manchester United. That's why they wanted to sign Hugo Ekitike before Liverpool came in and priced him from under their noses. At the moment, they're in talks with Brentford for Johan Wissa, although that deal, as we've been reporting for the last 24 hours, is looking more and more difficult for Newcastle to do. But if Wissa does come in, he's the replacement for Callum Wilson, not for Alexander Isak. I'm not sure he's going to get the move, and you wonder, if he doesn't, what happens on September the 1st? He's released this statement. The Newcastle fans were singing derogatory songs about him at Aston Villa last week. How does he begin to repair those damaged and fractured relationships?
So the current status is the Amanda Staveley left, and there was Mitchell, you said, that come in. I believe he alluded, this might be quotes. I'll ask you, Crookie, about this. But basically, he's alluded to the fact that we don't need to give a new contract. He's contracted to us long enough. Why would we extend a contract where there's still many years left on it?
Yeah, he's still contracted until the summer of 2028. Really, it's only when players get into the last 2 years of their contract that the clubs start to get a bit worried and start to accelerate talks over a new deal. And it was Paul Mitchell, you're right, who came in and said, look, this is not top of our priority list. Obviously, Newcastle have had to cut their cloth accordingly to stay on the right side of PSR regulations. And Paul Mitchell simply decided business-wise it didn't make any sense to give Alexander Isak a pay rise. But obviously, you've been in dressing rooms. If a player was under the impression he was going to get a pay rise and a big new contract, and then that gets taken off the table, it's gonna agitate you, isn't it?
But then, this is not just the club now, right? There's been a change of who's in control of that contract.
Well, Paul Mitchell has since left the football club. They haven't appointed a permanent replacement. We were under the impression that Ross Wilson would be leaving Nottingham Forest to go there and oversee the recruitment department. That hasn't happened as of yet. Andy Howe has been sort of the de facto sporting director this summer. He's been the one trying to get the deals done. And in fairness, they have got deals done. They've signed Anthony Elanga for decent money. They've got Malik Chow coming in to bolster the defence. Aaron Ramsdale has joined as well. So it's not like they've been sat on their hands and not trying to improve the team. They made RB Leipzig a really competitive offer for Benjamin Šeško, but ultimately he decided, and I think he was only ever going to join Manchester United. There have been other players they've held conversations with, Brian Mbeumo, who again only wanted to join Manchester United, João Pedro, who was always destined for Chelsea, Liam Delap, I know was really positive after his meeting with Eddie Howe, but again, he wanted ultimately to go to Chelsea. So I do feel a lot of sympathy for the management team there, and I think actually they probably understand to a certain degree where Alexander Isak is coming from, because you do only get one career. This is an opportunity this summer that is presenting itself to join the champions, to join, in Simon Jordan's words, one of the legacy clubs in England, in Liverpool. And it does feel to me like this statement tonight is a sort of last-ditch attempt by Isak to try and force his way out. But as I say, I'm not sure it's going to work.
I mean, I'm going to put it on you here now and ask you, where do you think, when the transfer window closes, where do you think Isak is?
Well, if you'd asked me that question a couple of weeks ago, I would have probably veered towards Liverpool, who are prepared to pay a British record fee. It won't get anywhere near the £150 million that has been touted as Newcastle's asking price. I don't think they'll even get near £130 million, which was one report earlier today that they were lining up a second offer. I think it would be around the £120 million mark. But because Newcastle haven't been able to find a suitable replacement, because they're not currently in active talks with an Isak replacement, I think he'll stay. And I think it'll be really interesting to see how that situation is managed. And of course, there is another fascinating subplot next Monday, live on talkSPORT, Newcastle against Liverpool.
Wow.
Isn't football amazing?
It is amazing.
Isn't it amazing?
Turns up so many stories.
Wowzers.
Crookie, you're a star, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, Crookie.
Cheers, boys.
All right, there's Alex Crook there. Look, you've heard it here. The statement is out. Want to hear from Newcastle fans, want to hear from Liverpool fans. Are there any Liverpool fans out there now who actually think, you know what, the way you've acted, we don't want you? Give us a call, 03717 223344.
The Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Monday to Thursday nights from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.